I'm hearing the city is set to announce their sale of their half of the Coliseum property to AASEG. Will the A's half be coming next? Man, that intro slaps. Nice work, Ben. All right, we're going to get into the big news. We're going to talk about what this means for the A's half, the city's half of the Coliseum property. Does this mean that Major League Baseball is officially done in Oakland, the Coliseum is kaput, or does this lead to a sliver of hope in the future? We'll get into all of that, but first, the big news. The City of Oakland and AASEG, African American Sports and Entertainment Group, are set to hold a press conference later today around 3 p.m. to announce that the city and AASEG have agreed to terms on a sale worth $105 million at least for the City of Oakland. The timing could not be better. This comes right ahead of the city releasing their budget. This is going to help them immensely going into next year and the year after that. This is going to keep fire stations open. This is going to keep police on the streets. This is going to do wonders for the city. The timing could not be better. And they were going to do this deal anyways. Remember, AASEG had an exclusive negotiating agreement with the city to purchase their half of the Oakland Coliseum site. The city owns half of the Coliseum site. The A's now own the county's half of the Coliseum site. There are two halves in question. The city is now selling their half to AASEG, and the hope is that AASEG will be able to close a deal for the A's half as well. Remember, the A's just paid their last payments to Alameda County for their half of the Oakland Coliseum property. In 2019, they agreed to purchase their half of the Coliseum property for $85 million. Recently, the A's turned down a $115 million offer from AASEG for the county's half of the property, now controlled by the A's. I'm hearing that the deal for the county's half, now owned by the A's, is around $125 million. That's what AASEG will be paying the A's. Now, there is a term sheet. Sources tell me they have a purchase price set around $125. That is a major profit for the A's and John Fisher. They need to get off that land. They need the cash influx. They are motivated to sell, even more so now that they know they are not going to be playing at the Oakland Coliseum. Now, why would the A's sell? Why wouldn't they just squat on this land, hamper all development on this 100+ acres of Coliseum property? Well, mainly, number one, there's a lawsuit challenging the A's purchase of the county's half under the Land Surplus Act. That challenge is set to be heard later this year. If that lawsuit goes forward, the A's would have to give all the land back to the county. The county would have to give all the money back to the A's. Then the county would be able to turn around and sell their half to AASEG. But for now, it's controlled by the A's. If the A's sell their half of the land, it's likely that lawsuit would go away, because the lawsuit is based on the fact that the A's were not planning to put affordable housing on the Coliseum site. AASEG plans to do so. Now, there's another major reason why the A's will be motivated to sell their half to AASEG, get all this Coliseum land under control of one entity. And that is because if they don't want to play ball, pun intended, I guess, eminent domain could be used. It would be messy, it would be time-consuming, it would be a disaster, but in the end, it's possible the A's could lose that land entirely and not make upwards of $40 million off of it. So yes, they are motivated to sell. They've been working to negotiate a deal for quite a while now with AASEG. Now, AASEG has big plans for that land. They want to turn it into an LA Live of sorts. Obviously keep the arena, perhaps keep the Coliseum in some fashion, we'll see. But they have big plans for that property. And now, owning the city's half helps expedite the deal with the A's, because again, unless it's all owned by one entity, there's always going to be somebody else digging in and dragging out this process, and that land will be stuck in limbo forever. It's in everybody's interest to get all that land in one hand, so to speak. So, big press conference scheduled for 3 p.m. today to announce the AASEG half. What does this mean for baseball? What does this mean for Oakland baseball specifically? I think we all know, sadly, that the A's are headed to Sacramento and possibly heading to Vegas after that. I still think they'll end up in Vegas, but I have to say possibly until we actually see some terms and a development agreement. But, you know, AASEG has loop capital. They have deep pockets. They have power players under their tent. There is possibilities that they could use the major power players they know, their colleagues and associates that know the other owners in Major League Baseball, and try to push for expansion. I know it's a pipe dream. I know it's way down the road, but these are guys that know a lot of key people. So I'd say that the dream, the hope of keeping baseball in Oakland doesn't necessarily die with this deal. It may only help increase the teeny chance that it ever comes back to Oakland. But for now, let's just focus on the sale, AASEG getting the city's half, and then hopefully closing a deal for the previously owned by the county's half soon with the A's.